on the top. They're pretty tight around my ankles. That's nice. It's such a nice feeling.
And you've got warm socks on?
I've got warm socks on, yep.
Okay.
Is that already open? No.
This is the point where I ask you,
Yeah.
what do you do to relax if it's not ice skating?
Well, I don't ice skate, let me tell you right now. What do I do to relax? I op shop.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah. A lot when I'm riding, particularly.
So what's your best op shop find?
Probably a beautiful German mid-century vase.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I love op shopping. I think creative people like it a lot.
Yeah, I do
Because you
too.
get unexpected choices.
Yes. And I like thinking about who it belonged to.
Yeah.
I like that kind of idea of a story, I think.
All that history.
Yeah.
So that's what you do to
I
relax.
do that, and I do exercise. I go to the gym, but I don't ice skate. And I am mildly terrified. I'm just going to put that out there right now.
And it's got quite a disco feel because it's the end of term.
I know, there's like lots of teenagers here.
There's Santa lights.
And they can actually skate, which is really intimidating.
And there's little kids learning how to skate. Yeah, most of these people are regulars. The ones that can skate are regulars.
Really?
Yeah, we see them every week.
So you come every week?
Pretty much, yeah.
You come every week?
Yeah, Tania's quite bitter and twisted because I've overtaken her in the ice skating. Because she started first, and then she didn't continue, and I took the lessons for several terms, which leads me to white boots.
Yes.
Do you remember the story?
Yes.
So
Noel Streetfield?
yeah.
Yep.
So I'm Harriet, and she's
Oh,
Lala.
I love that. How many riders can actually skate? It's what I want to know.
Well, there's quite a few. You're interviewing me now.
Only Gail can skate.
Oh, can she?
Yeah. So yesterday I was talking to her and she said, oh, how fun. And I went, oh, I'm going to tell Lucinda you can skate. And she went, no, don't. No, don't. I went, oh, nice.
Okay, so my question was, so how do you manage your writer, your work-life balance then?
My work-life balance. Do I manage it? I wonder. I think I'm really good at working really hard, and then I'm really good at relaxing.
Yeah, oh, well, that's good.
I'm really good at just going, I'm just going to read for 7 hours, or I'm just going to lie in bed and watch a whole television show.
Wow, that's a rare quality.
I know. I'm really good at being lazy, basically.
It's good because that can happen, but often that kicks in when you're actually emotionally completely exhausted. So if you can do that before you reach that point.
I think I'm really good at just deciding that I've had enough.
Yeah.
So unless I'm actually having to do work, unless I'm having to write for money, I'm quite good at switching off.
That's so good.
So terrified. Okay.
So see, this is your journey to ice skating.
Oh my God, look at that girl.
I know.
Amazing.
I always wanted to be able to do that. They've got a cornered off area for people to do their turns now.
For good people.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think this is really good. I think just shuffle a bit longer and try not to look down.
Oh, okay.
So you're sort of, you're not leaning back, but you're kind of looking up ahead again.
Yeah.
Wow. Now when
And try not to laugh.
Well, when I first came to the rink with Tania, she had to hold my hand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how you actually relax.
I'm not sure. You don't. The way you get speed is by pushing into the ice.
Right.
So it's actually, in some ways, you're doing really well. So I would hold on to the side and regain your balance a little bit.
Okay.
Now another thing we can do is we can practice a fall. So
Okay.
I'll do it. I'll show you.
You go to the side, don't you?
Yeah. You get as low as you can.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. If you feel yourself losing your balance, go low.
Yeah.
And then just let yourself fall.
Really? That feels like something I don't want to do, Lucinda.
And then you get your hand like this.
So you go there.
Yeah.
And
Just
then
let yourself fall to the side.
Oh, that hurts. All right.
And now get up.
And then you go up like this,
on
don't
one
you?
knee. Yeah, get your hands out, one knee. Put your hands on your knee. And watch what I'm doing. I push up like that. It's a bit daunting.
Right, that feels terrifying.
No,
I'm just going to go over here and do it.
Do it over there. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Oh,
You know,
that's
one
so
hand,
scary.
But now you know that you're focusing on your core being strong and looking down. I'm going to ask you about when you first started writing.
Oh, when I was very young. So it was kind of always the thing I loved. And I had an old typewriter, and I used to write stories on my typewriter. I used to write Agatha Christie murder mysteries. And then I wrote a little story that I actually finished in grade 6. I could never finish stories. But in grade 6 I wrote one called The Jelly People. Which was
jelly
people.
The Jelly People.
With my best friend Kathy. And it was a dystopian story of everyone being turned to jelly, except for the people in the plane, and I was one of those people. Oh, and everyone was just these blobs of jelly when we re-landed on the Earth.
Were they sentient jelly?
We were eating them.
I love jelly.
It was really grotesque. And whenever I do a school visit, I read it to the kids and they just look at me like I'm completely and utterly insane. So yeah, that was the first thing I wrote. And I knew very early on I was going to be a writer.
Wow.
So, and I wasn't very good at anything else, to be honest. Like, I tried other jobs, but I don't know, I was never very good at them.
I looked through your biography of books because I've read a few of them with my children.
Yes.
But there were way more than I realised.
There's heaps, isn't there?
30 books or something.
Oh, no. 17.
17?
Yeah.
Maybe they were different covers then.
Yeah, they might have been, yeah.
And are they all are they all junior to middle grade fiction?
Middle grade YA, yeah. So young adult. I started as a young adult writer, like my first 3 books were young adult. And I thought I wanted to write for adults actually, but then I wrote 3 young adult books and realised that was a really lovely thing to do, and then I just got younger and younger. I think because my daughter was the same age as Clem was in The Secrets We Keep, I went, I can write a book about an 11-year-old. And so Evie used to read it at night and tell me what was wrong with it. So it was this beautiful kind of discovery of that age, I think, and realising that was the age I loved reading when I was a kid. So yeah.
So I was going to ask you about that because Tania asked me if there's an age you particularly identify with.
Yes. Well, I think that
Yeah.
when I started writing young adult, I remember the publisher saying to me, I'm not sure this is actually your voice.
Yeah.
I think you're actually a younger writer.
Yeah.
And I think the age that I loved reading the most was grade 5, 4, 5, 6, year 7.
Yeah.
And I think that's the age I write for the best.
Yes.
So I think it's definitely to do with the themes that I identify with are the themes that still resonate, I think, from when I used to be a reader of that age.
I remember that age well too.
It was beautiful,
and
wasn't it?
It's a beautiful age, but you also love the melodrama at that age.
Yeah.
So, all that emotions bubbling up. And I feel that in your stories.
Yeah.
And then the children are genuinely suffering in these stories too. They've got very difficult family situations.
I did do a school visit the other day and the kid said to me, are you ever going to write a book where someone doesn't die? And I was like, yes, I am. I'm currently writing one that's really happy and uplifting.
Is that the horse one?
Because that's about Ned Kelly. So that's kind of like, that's pretty, it's fun, but it's heavy. I guess in terms of this sort of thematics of right and wrong, it's quite weighty. No, I've got a new middle grade coming out the following year that's light, hopefully, if I can keep it light.
So I'm going to show you lemons.
I am not going backwards.
So you can do them forwards.
No. Nah.
Yes. She's doing some
But then I run out of steam, Lucinda.
Yeah, that's it. You sometimes you start from the middle if you can. So that means you have to get a bit of balance, and you push off. Yes. So the collaboration.
Yeah.
So you collaborate with Emily Gale.
Yes.
Though.
Yes.
So, but you're both writing.
We're both writing, but we write it so we decide on the person we're going to write about, or the person we're going to research as the old character, the historic character. We do the research, then we kind of fight about who's going to write which of the two characters. No, not really. Basically, then we sort of plot the book together, and then we almost write it like a series of letters where I'll write a chapter, send it to her, she'll write me the chapter back. And it's this beautiful, very fluid process. And we edit each other and we edit as we go. So by the time the book is finished, it's really quite tight. And Emily's got incredible editing skills that I do not have.
Yes.
And she's much more thorough than I am. So I think it's been really good for me to learn from her and to kind of lift my game. Because I think sometimes I'm really a bit slapdash. And she's really, really good at not letting me get away with that. We're just supportive of each other. It's not ever competitive. It's just a really kind...
You're working together
to
make
it's really nice.
a lovely thing. Yeah.
It's been a really nice process. So
if Emily's not there and you are writing, who's tidying up your writing?
Oh, my poor editor.
And do you feel like
I feel embarrassed? Yes. Yes, I frequently feel...
Do you feel the publishers have the time to do that level of editing with everyone?
No, but I think I'm really lucky. I think what I nail very early on is voice.
Yes.
And I think I nail character. And I think I nail tone. And those things don't change from the first draft to the last because they are the things I care about.
And so when to get the voice right, are you thinking of a particular person when you're doing it, or you mentioned talking to a particular person?
It just feels like I just get them really quickly. And particularly girls, I struggle more with boys, I think.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to write boys at the moment, and it does feel harder. But it just feels like I kind of I just remember what that felt like that age.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've changed that much from that age, actually. Like, really, I still care about the same things.
Yeah.
And so once the voice is there, I think the editor is just looking at structure, and I'm bad at structure. I always have been. So she often has to do a lot of suggestions around how to repair the structure of a book.
So when there's a problem with the structure, would that be something doesn't tie up?
It doesn't.
Pacing.
It's more, maybe, no, not so much pacing, more just that the kind of arc isn't right. So maybe the stakes aren't high enough, or I've spent too much time internally thinking about the character and not enough time having action happen.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm just much more comfortable writing internal thought-based narrative, and snappy dialogue is kind of what I love doing. But that's not enough for a book. That's not going to hold together. So I'm trying to get better at thinking about how to structure something, but it's not my natural thing. And even with the memoir, which obviously is all internal thought because it's all my kind of voice, the editor came in and she did a huge restructure on that book after I'd finished it,
right,
which really surprised me.
And will you be doing several books at the same time?
Yeah.
How does your head manage that?
Not very well.
And is that because you get bored?
I do get bored, yes.
So
I do get bored. So I'll often have an edit on the go at the same time I'm writing something new.
Yeah.
At the same time I'm thinking about what will come next.
So I imagine that a lot of the time that feels exciting and like everything's happening, and then now again your head just gets full, and you need to go and do something else.
And then I write a lot of short essay stuff, which I really like because they're like 1,000 words. They're really easy to structure, and they're just me having a rant, and I love that.
And you just send that off to the Guardian?
I send it to the Guardian, and then hope that they'll go, yes, we love this.
And do they pay, or do they just go?
Oh no, they pay.
Opinion piece?
Oh no, they pay. I wouldn't do it if they didn't pay. This is the thing, isn't it? Like when you're trying to monetize your craft,
yes,
which goes to what you were saying before, you spend a lot of time trying to work out how to do that efficiently.
Yeah.
But also how to keep the love for something that you...
Which is why I needed a new hobby.
Yes, I totally understand that. I do. I think that's
This was my passion.
Yeah.
Writing was my passion, and it still is. But to keep that passion, I needed to do something else. Writing and illustrating, obviously. But illustration is really undervalued a lot of the time.
Of course. Yeah. But I think what that does is it starts to undervalue how you see your work, and that
makes you feel anxious. I tell you that.
I think I did realise a few years ago that what I loved about writing way back when was not worrying about the publishing. It was just falling into the world.
Yeah.
And that is what you lose when you're trying to do it professionally.
Yes.
And so I don't know how you get that back in a way, because it's so hard to have the time to lose money in order to work on something that you just want to write.
And you don't want to do work cynically.
No, I don't. I really don't.
Yeah. Because you can tell, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. I think yeah.
So how is this going then?
It's going
You
okay.
haven't fallen over once?
I haven't fallen over. My ankles are sore, but I think they always are because I've got really flat feet and I think my feet roll in.
I wonder if you could try a spin.
Oh, no. No,
Or
you,
backwards.
You just want me to fall over on camera. Your feet hurt after a while, don't they?
See, they don't in these.
No, because they're so soft. It's the hard plastic on your ankle bone.
They're really kind of, and they're one bit. Would you like to come to the cafe for a bit?
Oh, sure. Let's go to the cafe.
So, Nova, how was that for you?
Honestly, it was much nicer than I expected because I was so scared. I don't know why I was so scared. I actually think it's very good. It's a very good idea to be talking while you're skating because you're not thinking, you're not focused on your body, you're just relaxing. And that's a very clever device that you guys have constructed.
So did you learn anything new?
Yes. Well, I learned that I could let go of the wall because I think the last time I went, actually the only time I've went in years and years was at the Rising Festival. It's got about 7,000 people on the ice, tiny ice rink, and the ice is just dug up because and it's awful. And I was terrified and I just hung on. And I felt much, much more relaxed today. So, and everybody skating they just felt confident. So that made me feel confident. It didn't make me feel like someone was going to plow into me and knock me over.
Yeah, that's good. I thought you did.
Thank you.
Amazing. So for you, what's the most difficult part of being a writer?
I think why we all start writing or illustrating or being creative is because we love it. And I feel like the more you move through your career, the more you're doing it for an outcome and the less you're doing it because you just want to fall into it. And I think I miss falling into it. Sometimes I do just want to play, but I don't have the time to because I'm having to deliver something or I'm having to make money. And so it just doesn't feel like I have that luxury anymore. And I feel like that's a strange and unexpected thing to happen, I think, as a creative person.
People don't understand that when they start out, or you
No.
try to explain.
No, you're just desperate to be published when you start out,
Yeah.
I think.
I think it gets harder. It gets
Yeah.
harder and there's more pressure on yourself. I think it will be so much harder to be rejected. And it happens all the
Absolutely.
time for your third or fourth book
Yeah.
than your first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I think, too, there's pressure on you to sell. There's pressure on you, to improve. And all of those pressures, I think, are really hard. And I think if you're sort of looking at your career going, it's probably not that changed it hasn't really changed that much in the last 10 years. So, I don't know. Yeah.
And all that pressure comes from self as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
So the next question, it kind of is connected to that. So if you could talk to your younger self as I was starting out, what would you advise them?
I think trying not to focus so much on what other people think of your career, and also not to pit yourself against other people, but to try and do what it is you love about writing yourself, and that is write the sorts of stories you want to write. And maybe they're quiet stories. I think I do naturally write quite quiet stories, and not kind of go, well, why aren't I selling 100,000? Why aren't I huge in America? All of that stuff, I think that you, especially if you are naturally competitive or naturally trying to have something that's where you're pushing yourself, I think you do look at everybody else and imagine that they're doing a lot better. And I think it's only at this age that I've started to let that go. And I think I would love to have gone back when I was much younger and let that go much earlier. But I guess you can't. I guess you have to go through it, don't you?
I know, it's so hard.
It is. It's really hard. It's really, because it's not why we do it either.
No.
We're not
No.
writing to be better than someone else, and
No.
yet that is such a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And it's enforced on us from everything else, and that's so hard. I think it's a really
awards,
hard.
and shortlists
Yes,
and
yeah,
lists
and sales, and your own publishing house, and your agent, and your friends, and everything around you has that kind of element. It's like, I don't want that to be why I write. I want to write because I like writing.
But I think also the very fact that we have all got to this point in having a professional writing career means we are competitive. And it means we are driven, because you can't do it if you're not.
No, you
You
can't.
can't just get here through luck. You know, you have to actually show up, do the work, fight hard, keep trying, complete a project, put yourself on the line and go back and do it all again the next day. Like, it's hard. It's a really hard thing. I don't know. Anyway.
Yes. Soul destroying.
Why do we do
Have
it?
no souls.
I think you should take it ice skating. I think we should all just become ice skating champions. Surely it's not too late.
All right. Would you like to tell us about your upcoming book, Life, Death and Other Scenes?
Sure. So it's a memoir.
Okay,
Which
very different.
whenever you say that to someone, people go, "Really? What have you done with your life?" That's like the first question.
Have you been to the moon?
Yeah, I've done amazing things. No, it's not that kind of memoir. It's a thematic memoir rather than my life is amazing memoir. So it is kind of actually just about loss, but loss in all sorts of forms. So my mum dying, then my partner dying in 2020, then my daughter turning 18, then getting old, you know, losing your looks, whatever it is, like just all of those forms of loss. I guess it feels like it's a sort of spoiled process, because it's just been me thinking about myself, which you don't do when you write in fiction, because you're always thinking about the characters. But this has been, just a very lovely kind of therapy, I guess. I couldn't find a therapist. That's why I started writing it, because I couldn't actually find anyone who would see me during COVID. Yeah, so there was no therapist available. So I started writing, and my agent, who's in America, in New York, and it was the height of COVID when so many of her friends were dying of COVID, said, I think this could be a book that is bigger than just your experience, but about generalised loss. And so I started sort of playing around with it, and it was just like therapy, and then it became something more than that. So, yeah.
So is it harder or easier to write than fiction?
I think non-fiction for me is much easier. And I don't know why. I think it's something to do with structure and the way I imagine that narrative arc. And my partner who died was a playwright. And so when the editor got the kind of manuscript, it was quite chronological, and she broke it into 3 acts, which is where the title came from, and sort of shaped it like a play so that it's thematically linked in those 3 acts. So it's not chronological, it's much more thematically kind of shaped. And I think because the pieces are smaller, it's not a continuous arc. I find that easier to write. You're sharing yourself, but you're not kind of constructing characters. I don't know, it's just a different writing. Different.
And editing that, how did that feel? Because it's your personal...
Yeah, it's really personal. And it was amazing because UQP let me have... I've worked with a particular children's editor there a lot, and I love Christy. She's just been a great editor for me, and they let her edit this. And she's mostly done children's books, so it was fantastic even having them have, I guess, just knowing how important it was that we already had a pre-existing relationship. I got very sick of reading it. I decided I don't want to read about myself anymore ever again. I was so sick of thinking about myself. But the actual editing was quite a good process, I think. And it wasn't a huge, horrible edit. Like, my children's books are often just such a mess, but they're just completely pulled apart and restructured. This felt like a lot of the elements were already right, which was a kind of unique experience for me, because I'm not usually in that kind of shape. So
Yeah, so you're not making it up.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And when does the book come out?
April 3. So I know. So it's getting to that kind of scary, slightly frightening moment where you realise you're going to have to start talking about it at festivals. It's scary because it's personal, and it's scary because it's grown-ups. I'm fine talking to kids about anything at all, but talking to adults just feels terrifying. I don't know. Anyway.
So it's me in the hot seat now, Nova, and I just wanted to say thank you, and I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will look forward to your next book coming out. And I'm going to get back on the ice now. It's very noisy in here. Okay, so goodbye.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.